You step up to a microphone or walk into a room full of strangers, and your heart immediately pounds against your ribs. Your palms sweat, your throat tightens, and every biological instinct tells you to run. Psychologists call this sensation the imaginary audience. It is the overwhelming psychological illusion that everyone around you is watching your every move, scrutinizing your flaws, and waiting for you to make a mistake. This physiological reaction is completely real. This chart shows the significant spike in cortisol effect sizes following an acute stressor. Cortisol is the primary hormone your body releases to manage stress. When we face a social evaluative threat, the specific possibility of being judged negatively by others, our bodies release massive amounts of it. Your brain actually processes this fear of social judgment using the exact same alarm systems it relies on for an immediate physical threat. To your nervous system, a room full of judging eyes is indistinguishable from a predator in the brush. But here is the catch. While your racing pulse and sweaty palms are entirely real, that hypercritical audience staring back at you is a complete fabrication of your own mind. We fall for this fabrication because of the illusion of transparency. This is the mistaken belief that our internal emotional states, our private anxieties and insecurities, are broadcasting loudly to the outside world. To test how poorly we judge what others perceive, Stanford psychologist Elizabeth Newton designed a simple experiment. She had a subject tap the rhythm of a well-known song, like Happy Birthday, on a table, and asked an observer to guess the melody. The tappers, hearing the melody perfectly in their heads, assumed listeners would guess the song 50% of the time. The actual success rate was 3%. The listeners did not hear a melody, only disconnected rhythmic knocking. Much like that tapped melody, your internal awkwardness and perceived flaws feel incredibly loud to you, but to the people around you, they are practically undetectable. This disconnect introduces us to the spotlight effect. This is a well-documented cognitive bias, where individuals vastly overestimate how much other people notice their everyday actions, their minor mistakes, and their physical appearance. The spotlight effect is driven by a mental trap called mind reading. When we engage in mind reading, we jump to negative conclusions about what others are thinking based entirely on neutral signals, like a fleeting glance or a moment of silence. We also fall prey to emotional reasoning. We assume that because we feel awkward or anxious on the inside, we must objectively appear awkward to everyone else in the room. When these distortions combine in real time, they instantly convert a minor social misstep, like stumbling over a word, into a catastrophic, hyper-analyzed event that loops endlessly in our memory. These cognitive misfires stem directly from ancient survival hardware, severely malfunctioning in contemporary social settings. To understand why our brains do this, we look to sociometer theory. This theory proposes that human self-esteem is an internal gauge specifically designed to measure our relational value and our level of acceptance within a group. For early humans, maintaining social acceptance was a literal matter of life and death. Living as a hunter-gatherer required the safety, shared resources, and close cooperation of the entire tribe to survive the harsh realities of the wild. If you became an outcast and were separated from the group, you immediately became vulnerable prey. Isolation was effectively a death sentence. So the agonizing social anxiety we feel today over a poorly worded email or a bad hair day is simply our ancient brain desperately trying to keep us safely inside the tribe to avoid extinction. To dismantle this ancient alarm system, psychologists study meta-perception, the ideas and assumptions we form about what other people think of us. The hard truth of meta-perception is that our assumptions about others' judgments are rarely accurate. They are actually a projection of our own self-concept. If we view ourselves negatively, we automatically filter the neutral facial expressions or ambiguous actions of the people around us as harsh judgments against us. We see exactly what we expect to see. Fortunately, we have an ultimate comforting defense against this: cognitive busyness. Everyone else in the room is simply too consumed with their own internal thoughts, schedules, and worries to heavily judge you. The massive gap between our internal fears and external reality exists for one simple reason. Everyone is the main character of their own story, entirely distracted by their own spotlight effect. Recognizing these false alarms, the illusion of transparency and the spotlight effect, provides a practical defense against unnecessary social stress. Acknowledging our cognitive distortions allows us to stop and ground ourselves in present reality rather than panicking over an imaginary scenario playing out in our heads. The critical audience we fear most is not sitting in the front row. It's simply a ghost, created by our ancient survival instincts. Understanding the science behind this curse of the self allows us to step out of the imaginary spotlight and authentically connect with the real world.